Throughout history, freethinkers have outraged the religious with their wacky ideas about the virtues of free speech, reason, and of course, eating babies. Now, God is dying, and it's time to dispose of his remains. From the pits of hell, Satan sends two puppets of the imperialist West and the Zionist Jews against God, Islam, and tiny kittens to bring you their propaganda and conspire for a new world order. This is Secular Jihadists for a Muslim Enlightenment with Ali Rizvi and Armin Navabi.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Secular Jihadists for a Muslim Enlightenment. Of course, I'm saying that every episode is special, as you all know. But then there's no such thing as special. So I guess, this is a special episode. My name is Ali Rizvi. And with me is Armin Navabi. He is the lapsed Iranian Muslim, or lapsed Iranian ex-Muslim. Okay, something's happening. We do this podcast, Secular Jihadists for Muslim Enlightenment. For those of you who are new and don't know about this, we essentially cover all matters related to secularism, especially when it comes to Islam in the Muslim world, but also just religion and critical thinking and skepticism in general. If you can always check out our previous episodes as well. We've spoken to a lot of ex-Muslim activists and just ex-Muslim voices around the world, in the Muslim world, in Egypt and Malaysia and all over the place, Libya, Bangladesh. And we also have other guests in this area. We have actually an announcement. We're going to have Sam Harris on the podcast.
Yay.
In late September. Yeah, so Sam Harris is going to be there. We also had Steven Pinker recently. We have had Matt Dillahunty in recent episodes, the most recent one that came out. We have had Sarah Haider. We have had Majid Nawaz, many of them. So be sure to go and check it out. And anyway, with that, we'll start this. I'll just stop blabbering. We titled today's episode Islam's Prisoners of Conscience. And that's because there's a lot of interesting things that have happened recently. Specifically with Armin Navabi, who has been in a viral video due to his antics at Vancouver's Pride Parade. And he had a sign, and we've all seen the Jesus is gay signs. So he had a sign that said Allah is gay, which is a very pleasant thing. I think it's a compliment to Allah in any way. He went out there, and I just want to read to you really quick, and then we'll hand it over to Armin. You can talk about it. One of the responses and one of the messages he got was from a guy named Wasim Khan. And he said, I quote, "We all people of religion," this is in response to Armin's Allah is gay sign at the Pride Parade, which everybody loved, by the way. "We all people of religion must put our differences aside and let's unite and tear up these kinds of menace atheists who are working under an agenda. I repeat, not all atheists, but the ones who follow this asshole monkey face Armin. Let's grab them and tear them from limb to limb. We need to kill these followers of Satan. Iran should arrest Armin's cousins and family members back home in Iran, torture them so that Armin can lure his ass back home. Once he's in Iran, they should stone his ass to death. I will also throw stones on his head. I throw really good. I'm going to smash his skull into pieces. I'll throw bricks and rocks on his head. ... Oh yeah. ... And then he said, I want to chop Armin's head and play football with it. FIFA World Cup. Yeah. Armin, why did you do this? This is your fault. Why did you bring this, elicit this kind of reaction from people? Well, actually, or are you trying to offend the sensitivities of...
No, I mean, Wasim is helping me make my point, actually. That was his reaction is my point, to show, like one of my points, to show the... because it's not just him. If it was just him, it would be fine. But if you look at my inbox on Facebook right now, my wife's inbox, you will see how fucking massive this, and even the comments on the first video and then the second video, you can see how big of a problem this is. Because when you say that homophobia is such a big problem in the Muslim community, people are like, yeah, maybe you're exaggerating, but demonstrating it like this is far more effective. So one of them is to basically there's many different goals here. One of them is to demonstrate how common homophobia is. I mean, you don't see these reactions to Jesus is gay signs, right? But you do see this kind of reaction to Allah is gay. Another one is to basically kind of do the same thing with the Dry Muhammad Day did, which kind of desensitized most Muslims to cartoons of Muhammad. I mean, not all of them, but still the reactions to drawing Muhammad is not at all close to what it used to be because of normalizing dissent, normalizing blasphemy, normalizing things that people are so sensitive about. I think when people try to ban something because they are offended by it, the only reaction is to do it so much so that they're not offended by it anymore. And it works all the time. So basically normalizing blasphemy is another one. Normalizing blasphemy is one of the many ways that you fight for free speech. And the third point was to show, I mean, I'm going to translate some of these tweets. I saw a tweet from Iran showing they're like atheists in Iran. Yeah. Like looking at this video and like really, it's like they can't believe that you can say Allah is gay and people are like patting you on the back and giving you a high five.
Can you talk about that? So what happened? What did you expect when you went out there?
I didn't think it would be any different. I thought I would get some negative reactions, but it was pretty much what I expected. Like I thought Vancouver hasn't been struck by, social justice warrior ideology as much as, I mean, there is some of that there, but hasn't become like a dogmatic religion yet here. It might become soon as a reaction to people that are other people.
I actually saw a lot of social justice people really like it too.
Yeah.
They thought it was because it had the Allah thing in it, and they thought it was a nice way of bringing everything, how they want to bring everything together. So
no, but those are not those are not what we refer to as social justice warriors. I mean, those are just our like fellow liberals, right? I think, right?
Yeah.
But I saw a Persian tweet saying, here's what this person said, Mariam. یعنی میشه یه روز در ایران این کارو کرد. She's saying, is it possible for this to happen one day in Iran? و کسی نیاد محل بگه که and nobody is insulted by and say that باید به عقاید احترام بذاری. Nobody would get insulted and come tell us that we have to respect other people's belief. این الله مال ملت رو سر خورده و ترسو بار آورده جرأت ابراز عقیده رو از بچگی که سوالی پیش می اومد در ذهنمون و از ترس کفرگویی سکوت میکردیم رو ازمون گرفته. I'm not reading this properly because I don't think she's using commas properly, but
I don't know.
But she's saying basically this Allah thing. They shoved it in our heads and they scared us with it to express any of our views from childhood to they scared us to ask any questions. They basically any questions that we ask was we were afraid of being accused of blasphemy or saying or being infidels. باید یه روز منم همین کارو بکنم. I'm like, I have to do this one day. So basically somebody from Iran watching this and seeing that you like, even when I was in Iran, I think like I remember one day having a letter to Khamenei, which was a strong letter against Khamenei, holding it and putting it in my bag and just walking around and just coming back home and just being so excited that I got away with that, right? This would be unimaginable. This was like more than 13 years ago. But yeah. But I think like when you see like that you can say something like that and nothing happens to you, and not only nothing happens to you, people support you. It basically raises the bar to people from other countries that what is achievable then if you can't say this and get away with it, there's nothing that you can't say, basically, in their opinion. Like,
yeah, because there was a lot of people who were actually saying, why don't you go to Iran and do this? Why don't you go to these other countries and do it? But the whole idea is that obviously you can't do it there, but you can do it here, and that gets over there. Those images get to them, and it's something that's inspiring to people.
Right.
And it gives them something to aspire to in terms of, what they think is possible. Fahad Sayed is saying, well, he says, how is Armin dealing with all the attacks after the video he posted? Are you going to take some action on people who threatened you physically?
I mean,
he's saying that honestly he would if they reside in the West. So do you know?
No, they're mostly outside. There's too many of them. Like, you guys, like, there's hundreds. Right, and 90%. How many? Like, am I going to go? One of them might be from the West, from 1%. Am I going to go through each and every one of them and see which one of them are from a country that I could take an action against? That's that would take forever. Most of them are from other places.
Yeah, I should actually stress this point because we did. This is a kind of thing. I mean, I still get threats from time to time, and I'm not even that confrontational that much, even though, okay, I am in some ways. But I do get them, and most of them I dismiss as it's just something, people outside, some kid in Afghanistan or someone in, another country who can't get to me. But there are a couple of times, I think in 2016, there was a conference in New York. I think it was a Muslimish conference. And someone sent me a map of Toronto. And then after that, the account just disappeared. So, a map of the place where we were actually holding the conference, which is public knowledge. But that's all they did. They just sent a map.
Yeah, somebody actually sent us our address, our CEO's address at some point. And so that was kind of scary.
When that happens, you gotta take. I mean, so we got some security and stuff at the venue. So there are times when you have to look out for it. But yeah, for the most part, there are so many. There's so many threats that come in, all kinds of stuff. The stuff that I just read out, that's just one. You can go on Armin's Twitter timeline. You can see all the rest of the stuff that he's gotten. I have one more question, Armin, for you. Is that just in terms of in the West, now that we're seeing, how we always talk about the regressive left and the whole alliance I'm a liberal, but one of the liberal blind spots that frustrates me is that their apologetics for Islamists, right? When they're Christian fundamentalists, they descend on them and they attack them. But when someone from the Islamic world says something, then they back off. They say, no, we have to respect them. That's their culture. And there's a double standard for it. So that alliance is obviously an issue. It's a problem. But do you think that the left's alliance with Muslims in the West, for example, a lot of Muslims who love Bernie Sanders, who love like all that whole wing, many of these Muslims in the West have adopted some of the left's, especially the young Muslims. They tend to not be homophobic as much because they know that, their party is the left. So they don't want to be homophobic. They're adopting some of those values. Do you think it's helped in that way? Do you understand what I'm saying, or am I not being articulate?
Well, I mean, Muslims, just like everybody else, are influenced by many different ideas, many different competing ideas. Just like you and me are influenced by different people, different ideas, different books, different schools of thought. And when you step out of a bubble, or even in an Islamic country, you're not always in a bubble because there's other sources of information that gets to you. Obviously, if you become less homophobic, or if you're more for free speech, if you're more for secularism, democracy, women's rights, gay rights, that's because of your exposure to other people and that's other ideas. And that's great. The problem is, the major problem is that when Muslims get exposed to ideas other than Islam and their views gets changed by these other ideas other than Islam, people try to give credit to Islam for their lack of homophobia. That's of course, yeah. No, but I mean,
I guess what I'm talking about is like this phenomenon where, say, the left embraces Muslims. Say, listen, Muslims, we're going to defend your rights. You're with us. You're the left. But the left is also pro-gay rights and pro-trans rights and pro-gender equality and all of that stuff. So they say, okay, come into our fold. So the Muslims are like, wow, the left is embracing us. Now, we're going to take on their agenda. And so now the Muslims are part of the left. And now they're like, yeah, we are for gay rights. We are for women's rights. We are for trans rights. Yeah. So that may be a sort of an advantage. It's an advantage
that could have been achieved in a better way, because, when you try to decide what views you believe in based on the tribe you belong to, some of them are going to end up being right. But it's not the most effective way of coming out the truth. Because what if, you could have as easily adopted a bad value because your tribe had you know what I mean? Like if you say, okay, I'm part of Group A, so let me see what Group A believes in. So I'm going to follow those. I'm going to believe in those things. And Group A believes in some nasty shit and some really good stuff. The fact that you now believe in those good stuff is just by luck. That's not a very effective way of figuring out what's true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then as easily you could have believed in something very destructive if that's how you're deciding what you're going to follow or what you're not going to follow.
That's kind of the point you were making when we talked to Steven Pinker, is that it's about the process, because if the process is flawed, then just because you come to a good conclusion doesn't mean that you're going to end up with that same kind of thing later. You're not going to get that consistency. So the process is super important.
Yeah.
Okay. So I also want to talk about, we're going to also get into the recent Canada and Saudi Arabia.
Somebody tagged us in the live chat. Do you want to answer those questions?
Yeah, there's one question that's what I was getting to. So there is James is saying that Ali's whispering is very pleasant. Well, hey, maybe I should charge for it. Then the Cookie Monster saying, I have seen the clip where an Islamist argues for the killing of apostates with Ali Rizvi. What did you think of that? Yeah, that was with both of us. It was on this podcast. That was Daniel Hakikat Jew. He's one of our guests. He was he's a fundamentalist Muslim, and he was on this podcast, and he was telling us how in an ideal Islamic state, apostates or people like me and Armin should be killed. But we should be given 3 days first to repent and to renounce our apostasy and go back to the faith. But if we don't, then the punishment is capital punishment. So that was an interesting episode. I guess his question is, what did you think of that? My answer is I wasn't surprised. I know that that's the doctrine. If you follow the doctrine and you decide to put this doctrine, the second sort of secondary hearsay from 1.5 millennia ago, and you decide to put that over your own inherent sense of right and wrong based on your empathy and what you think is the right thing to do, then that's what's going to happen. You're going to follow what the doctrine says.
I think the fact that most of our audience is surprised by a Muslim saying that makes me think like we're not doing our job right, because I think like we've been talking to so many moderate Muslims, quote unquote, that people have gotten a lot of our followers have gotten the wrong impression that what the mainstream Islam is, right? I mean, when I hear somebody says, well, yeah, obviously under an Islamic regime, if you're an apostate, you're supposed to be killed. That's mainstream Islam. That's not, oh my God, that's so shocking. Like, no, the shocking one is the one that says you shouldn't be killed. That's the not normal one when it comes to Islamic ideology. So, I think we need to, like this whole constantly just having Muslims that are eye to eye with us on many views like secularism, women's rights and stuff. I think it gives the wrong impression to people. But the problem is that it's hard to get mainstream Muslims on the show. It's because most of them don't want to, like a lot of them that are big names, they don't want a dialogue. They just want to preach. Like they just want to have a big audience that they talk to, right? Unless they're having a dialogue with somebody on their own side. And a lot of them that are not big names, they are afraid to come on our show because they think they might make a mistake, and they feel like they betrayed Islam or something like that if they don't represent Islam well. But one thing I did is I actually went to Sydney recently, and you know how Lauren Southern recently just got kicked out of this Islamic area of Sydney because she wanted to go and interview Muslims there.
No, I don't know about that. No, I haven't.
Right. So the police kicked her out because they said they're going to incite violence, which shows you what the police thinks about the Muslims, because they think that just by asking them question, the Muslims are just going to attack her or something like that. So they said you can't go in there. But we went there, me and the camera guy, and we went to the exact same place that Lauren Southern tried to go to interview Muslims, and she couldn't go in because the police wouldn't let her. So just a few days ago, I went there, and I interviewed a whole bunch of Muslims. And it was, I'm going to release that video pretty soon. It was so cool. There were so many different responses. One of them was admitted that, yes, I probably should get beheaded under an Islamic regime, if there was an Islamic regime. But the same guy went and took us to an authentic Lebanese restaurant and treated us with some food. And then we talked to like an Islamic teacher. Like we were eating.
He treated you like he got you the food?
Yeah, it's crazy. Even though he thinks we should be beheaded, we still got. That's weird, isn't it? But
actually, no. It's this is the thing. It's completely irrational and cognitively dissonant, but it's not weird. I'll tell you why later.
But here's the thing. So we talked to so many people in the street. One great theme that I saw was that a lot of people, I asked them that do they think Islam should be criticized, and they said no. They shouldn't be criticized. It's not okay to criticize Islam. And within a few minutes, by giving them a few examples, they changed their mind. Okay, maybe Islam is okay to criticize Islam. And I will show you that how that thought process went on with a whole bunch of people on the street. That was pretty cool. But the most interesting was when we were eating, the phone rang in the restaurant, and the guy or the restaurant owner started calling us like, Canadians, you Canadians come here. And it was like, we went to the phone, and there was an Islamic teacher. Like, I heard you're like in the street talking to Muslims. I want to come meet you. And he took us to, back alley and started put up the chair and started talking to us. He didn't want his face to be shut. So that got very intense, right?
Really? So you were transparent with them in terms of who you were, and
I told them I'm an ex-Muslim, but what they didn't expect was that this guy went and pulled off my videos on YouTube. And so I saw your video of the poison pill of Islam, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucked. The one that Steph Andrew made, right?
Yeah.
I was really I was a little bit worried because it's one thing to go talk to Muslims, which I think everybody could do, but I didn't know. For me, for some, when people don't know me, I think I can reach out to Muslims and I could have a civilized discussion with them. This guy found out what kind of videos I make, but the thing is that even though it got very heated, he still got us tea. Sorry. He still got us coffee. He still treated us very nice. The conversation was very hostile, but the treatment before and after was pretty civil. And my point was look, even somebody like me that goes and burns the Quran and says that Islam is like a poison pill and has an Allah is gay sign, I could go to a place that they call the no-go zone in Sydney. Apparently, that's a no-go zone. And I could just go with one camera guy and no security, and I can talk to Muslims, and they treat me with food and have heated discussions with them, but still remain civil, right? I mean, it's possible to have conversations with these people. If I can have conversation, if somebody that has gone as far as I have can go and have civil discussions with Muslims, I don't think there's no excuse for anybody else, because other people don't even have the background that people would hate you on, right? But look at the reaction that the police had against Lauren Southern. They thought if she goes in there and talks to Muslims, the only reaction is violence. Like this was like your complete bigotry of
no, but it's not like that doesn't happen. I mean, I know that you went in and it worked out, but that kind of thing it does happen, depending on what the situation is and what the neighborhood is. Like it does. Like there are many people who would go out and they'd try to do the same thing, and they wouldn't be as fortunate. I mean, that is a possibility, right? So. I wanted to say, address, the fact that guy, first he said that, you should be killed in an ideal Islamic state, and then he went and he bought you food. That's a very common experience that I've had. It's strange, like, I've brought this up on the show before, is that when you have, even among some members of my extended family and some of my friends, when I ask them, I'm like, do you think that people who leave Islam should be killed? And they'll say, yes, they should be killed. I'm like, what about me? Don't you want to kill me? Like, oh, no, not you. You're very nice. You're different. You talk to us. You are, you like to engage in dialogue. You respect whatever it is. So they don't. And I think that you get the same kind of reaction. So a lot of this is really, it's complicated in the sense that people do believe certain things because they know that they're supposed to believe them. But when it actually comes to carrying out the act, a lot of times it's completely different, and people are.
No, but they don't think, it's not that they carry out the act, but I don't think that's in their...
Like they would encourage it if somebody else did it to another apostate from another family. They would. Like, I understand.
But even to me, I think, they just said, okay, I'm not going to do it, but there needs to be, somebody that does it. Which is still pretty shitty, I think.
It's of course it's shitty. I'm not saying it's not.
Right.
I'm just saying that it's. I think
how you see Russian movies with Russian spies and US when somebody is gonna get executed by firing squad, they still sit down and have a chat and they give him a cigarette
right before.
Right before. But they're still killing him, right?
That's true. I just think it's.
I think that actually makes it more scary. I don't know. The friend.
I mean, these are also they're not people. What I'm saying is that I think that there is a different kind of treatment when people know somebody. Right? Like there are people who will be super, super homophobic all their life. Then they find out that their daughter's gay, and then they're going to freak out over about 2 months. And then they go back and they become okay, well, she's gay, but it's against it. But I wouldn't do anything. She's nice. She's different. She's a contributing member of society. She pays her taxes. There's human beings they're interesting. They're complicated. I think there is a little bit of leeway and a little window there to act. And to have that conversation like you did. I think that you went and you had that conversation in that window, right?
Yeah.
So,
but here's the thing. I think the only solution is to have conversations with these people, because you could just look back.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you have to have that. There is this window where people are open, because you can tell that they do want to connect with other people on the basis of just being human, or on the basis of someone being someone that they know, or their son, or Ali. Well, no, all other apostates are bad, but you're nice. We like you. That kind of thing.
I just think sitting back and looking at these views and be like, oh my God, that's horrible. And pointing out to other people that don't believe in these views how horrible this is, that's not going to do much. You know what I mean? A lot of Westerners that know how barbaric these ideas are worried mostly about other Westerners that don't seem to get how barbaric these ideas are. But the main people that you need to be, they're trying to reach out to other Westerners and warn them about these views, right? Warn them about Islam. Yeah. But I think the main people that you need to reach out to are people with those views. Right?
Of course. Yeah.
But the thing is that just sitting back and be like, oh my God, that's scary. How could somebody believe that? That's not really going to do much. It's just going to...
And honestly, but also, there are also people who go out and they try to have these dialogues to get those gotcha moments and to piss off somebody and get certain reactions. I mean, there's also that. I think that there's a way to make a point in a very nice way. I think you did that with the Allah is gay sign. I think you did a good thing there.
Right.
That was there was nothing. If you like Allah, if you like gay people, I mean, you shouldn't have a problem with either of those things.
After I thought about it, actually theologically, Islamically, I thought at first I was that Allah is gay doesn't make any sense because there is no Allah, right? But Allah is Dumbledore is gay. His fictional character can be gay, right? But yeah,
that was your thought process. You're like, well, there's no Allah, but hey, Dumbledore was gay, so
yeah,
I guess.
So people like, how could a fictional character? Some people say, how could a fictional character be gay? I'm like, really? You don't think a fictional character can be gay? I can't, obviously, but the point is that Allah is supposed to be everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if two people are having gay sex, right, and they're having an orgasm, Allah is supposed to be experiencing everything, right? So Allah is also experiencing the orgasm they're having. Aren't they? Like, so Allah is experiencing a gay orgasm. And if they're enjoying it, Allah has, by its very definition of what Allah is in Islam, is also enjoying that gay orgasm. So if
Allah is experiencing a gay orgasm, and He is also enjoying the gay orgasm.
Yeah, and people say, well, Allah doesn't have a gender. Well, yeah, but since Allah can experience everything, Allah is also experiencing being a man. Right? Because He experiences all our experiences, right? So Allah cannot not be gay based on that. He's
everything. He's everything, right? He is everything. So He's gay too.
Yeah, He's everything. Exactly. Allah is everything according to Islam.
We had, there was that, the whole idea that everyone believes in a God that agrees with them. Right? If you ask a gay Muslim, they're like, no, God loves gay people. If you ask a gun-loving Republican, it's like, well, God loves guns. If you ask somebody who's pro-choice, like, no, God supports a woman's right to choose. And everybody believes that. David Silverman said this on our show. He said that everybody believes in a God who agrees with them.
Not necessarily, though. Most of the time.
Okay, yeah, most of the time. There's always exceptions.
Sometimes people say like, "Oh, I wish this wasn't true," but apparently God wants this. Like, "Oh, you're such a nice person. I wish you didn't have to be beheaded, but apparently you have to. So sorry." So sometimes your God, like people have views that disagrees with their Allah.
Yeah.
But we missed a whole bunch of questions, by the way, in the live chat.
Okay, yeah, no, a lot of these are actually comments.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get to Vancouver is very irreligious overall, which is a huge plus from James. I feel bad for the Iranian people. They're oppressed by Islam and being targeted for war. From logic beats speculation. Sukanti Bhave is asking, what are your thoughts on Dave Rubin and the interview you did with him last year? It was actually not last year. It was in 2015. So when he started the show in 2015, I was on a show much earlier. The reason he had me on, I think, was that we connected, was that I'd written an article in HuffPost called The New Center, using that terminology. It was called The New Center Between the Right's Bigotry and the Left's Apologism, something like that. And so he had me on to talk about that. My book hadn't come out yet. My book came out almost a year later. But we had a really good conversation. I think he did have really good conversations. There are many conversations he's had that are great, but I have a lot of disagreements with him now. So, right. And I do, the only criticism I have is I think they should be a little bit more open to criticism. I criticize him for going on the Alex Jones show. And for saying to Alex Jones that there is a space for Alex Jones because the mainstream media is so bad. And I kind of called him out on that because that's something that I talk about a lot. And if I didn't call out Dave, who was a friend, then it would be hypocritical and inconsistent of me. But I think he took that worse than he should have. I don't think he should have been that sensitive, but he was.
But by the way, just so on record, I'm against Alex Jones banning from Facebook.
Yeah, no, so am I. I don't think that he should be banned. I think he's a fucking lunatic, but that's.
I don't know if he's a lunatic. Maybe he's playing a character. I'm not very sure.
Well, either way, I think that if he's playing a character that
makes it worse. Like that's worse.
He's still a lunatic. So in any case, that conversation aside, I think when we're in this business where we say provocative things, when we're talking about the things that you're not supposed to talk about at work, religion and politics, you got to do it in a way that you don't take it personally. You have to be open to criticism from your friends. You have to be open to public dialogue, public criticism, be able to handle it, be able to agree to disagree. And I think that that's important. I don't block anybody. The only person I've ever blocked on Twitter is somebody who just tweeted a lot and spammed a lot. and I didn't even disagree with them that much, but it was just really, really annoying. They were constantly adding me. But apart from that, I've never done that. I like hearing what other people are saying. I watch a lot of Fox News. I listen to a lot of Alex Jones. So it's I think it's good to hear other sides. I
tried Alex Jones. I couldn't take it. By the way, B just saying, did I actually go to with that guy, that Muslim guy in the back alley? It was like a coffee shop that had a back alley area with tables and stuff. Yeah, so I did. But I felt pretty safe. I don't know. The guy seemed okay.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, okay. Zahra is in the live chat. I met her in Sydney. We should have her as a guest. She has an amazing story, so we should have her.
Okay, yeah, note that down. Send to me, Zahra.
Yeah.
Heads up.
Yeah.
We're coming.
So,
okay,
go through the questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Nusantara. Nusantara saying, do you guys know about the 26? Sorry, I'm going to. Okay, let me just read the comment. There was Beej saying, Armin getting all these threats, but Canadian government will not demand his arrest. Strong message to Islamic countries. Yep, exactly. Nusantara saying, do you guys know about the 2016 Ahok protests in Indonesia where 2 million Salafis, super conservative Muslims, forced our Christian governor to be arrested for blasphemy for saying simply Muslims can vote Christian representatives? I vaguely remember something like that. I remember these things where there was a Christian governor and he was treated unfairly. I can't recall it in a lot of detail, but same thing. And then he goes on to say, Indonesia recently banned Hizb ut-Tahrir. I like freedom of speech, but they were radicalizing our impoverished and uneducated. What do you think should happen to such groups in light of FOS protection? Freedom of speech protection. So I think it's the same as what we said about Alex Jones. I think that they should be allowed. I agree with you.
I
agree with the part that they should have free speech. Inciting violence is a very, very specific thing where if someone says, like Alex Jones said, take up arms and go fight the media. If you say something like that, that's inciting violence. But if you're just expressing your views and you're saying, well, my religion says that gays should be killed or Muslims or apostates should be killed, I don't think that that's inciting violence. I think that should be allowed.
Try banning it. It will grow faster.
It'll grow faster. Leave this stuff out. We should talk about, I don't know why, people talk about all these, these are people who we should hear. They should be on the surface. They should be out in the open.
Right.
So we can respond to them. We can ridicule them. We can mock them. And people associate with them. We can actually make them feel ashamed for having such backwards, horrible values. But when you ban them, you push them underground and they can present themselves as martyrs. Then They can go to people. See, there's something. This is something they don't want people to know. I've got the truth, and the mainstream is trying to silence me, and all this other bullshit. So, yeah, people like that. I think they should. I don't think they should be banned.
So actually, the way I summarize it is three. Even the worst of ideas, there's three problems with banning it. First of all, you give them the victimhood card, which they will use as a sign that they're on the right side. And religions especially, they feed on being a victim, right? The more you victimize them, the faster they grow. The second problem is that if you ban them, they go underground and these things grow faster in the dark because you don't see it as a problem. People don't know that it's growing. People don't recognize it as a threat if it's not out in the open. And the third problem, if you do ban it, you're giving your government the authority to decide what kind of speech is dangerous and what's not. And if they decide that this speech is dangerous today, tomorrow it could be your speech that they recognize as dangerous. So I don't think the government should have that authority at all.
Right. I'm gonna go to Facebook. There's a question from a guy I was actually in 5th grade with in school, Yasser Sharif.
Oh, nice.
We disagree completely on religion, but I've known him for many, many years. So he's thank you, Yasser, for your question. He's saying, how about thoughts on he is a Muslim. He's a believing Muslim. How about thoughts on liberalization of the Muslim majority world? There is a movement everywhere to be more accepting and tolerant. Anything else is becoming extreme. That's a good question. In terms of that, like I'm, as far as liberalization goes, we have a lot of conversations here about people who want to reform Islam and sort of retain Islamic elements, and just they're okay with a liberalized version of Muslims versus fighting the religion altogether. And I think that Armin and I both have agreed that we don't think we can reform Islam as a religion, but in terms of Muslim people and the way that they think, we do think that there's a window. I think that is something that kind of reform, Muslim reform, is a whole different issue.
So the summary is like, Muslims are moving, many Muslims are moving towards more liberal ideas, but which is a great thing. But the problem is when people try to give credit to Islam to that. And that's very dangerous if you try to do that, because Islam deserves no credit for that. When Muslims become more liberal, that's Muslims moving away from Islam, Muslims ignoring Islam, which most Muslims do anyway. And again, people say, well, how could you be a Muslim when you ignore Islam? And again, Islam is a religion based on belief, not based on practice. You could be a Muslim, but a very shitty Muslim. You could be a Muslim that drinks alcohol, has sex out of marriage, never fasts, never prays. You're still a Muslim if you believe in Allah and Muhammad as his last prophet and the Quran as the direct word of God. You're just not a very good Muslim. And we learn from childhood that most Muslims also are going to go to hell. So if Muslims are going to go to hell, that means that even if you don't practicing Islam, you're still a Muslim because you believe in those things. You're just not following what you're supposed to be following, right? So,
right.
Yeah, so it's based on belief, not based on practice, whether you're a Muslim or not.
Right.
So,
and I want to add one thing.
No, just I was going to say one last thing. I forgot.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I forgot. Go on.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, one more thing is that when you're talking about liberalization of the Muslim majority world, a key element of that is people criticizing Islam. Like that is a big thing. Right. You do have to bring those ideas out there. I mean, one of the reasons that the Judeo-Christian world was liberalized to some extent and secularized was because biblical criticism became acceptable and it became normalized. It wasn't acceptable during the time of the Reformation, but there were a lot of German Enlightenment thinkers that actually came out and they made it an academic discipline where they sat there, they used reason and they did not use dogma. They assumed that the Bible was a book like any other and they went ahead and they had at it. And that didn't turn a lot of Christians into non-Christians or atheists necessarily, but what it did was it did dilute and it would water down, and it at least brought at the state level, it brought down a de-recognition, a non-recognition of religion as having any role to play in the state. So that is also a process of liberalization. You can't have a liberalization of Muslim majority world if you don't have critics of Islamic doctrine that are normalizing the idea that Islam can be criticized, that are normalizing the idea that the Quran can be looked at as a book written by men, right?
Right. I remember what I was going to say.
Yeah, so those things are key parts of it. So I know, Yasser, we disagree on a lot of things, but I agree with you on this, but I hope you can understand what my point is and why it's important that we also go ahead and blaspheme in order to make that happen.
Right. So one thing that people say is like we're becoming more accepting and tolerant. I want to this could mean many things, and some of them are good and some of them are very bad. When you say accepting and tolerant, when we say offensive things or what people find offensive or people that find not tolerant of other people's views. People say that we're being intolerant or not being accepting. Or why are we not letting people believe what they want? That's horseshit. I mean, like when tolerant and accepting means like what? Like tolerant and accepting means like not forcing people to live in a certain way, not demanding people to abide by rules that just because I think that there are good rules, right? Like not forcing my way of life on them. But if that's what you mean by accepting and tolerance, then I'm 100% behind that. But if accepting and tolerance means like me not voicing my disagreement with people's ridiculous ideas or barbaric ideas, that's not a tolerance and acceptance I can get behind. Or if tolerance and acceptance means that I can't ridicule ridiculous views, that's also not a tolerance or acceptance I can get behind. A lot of times people say that, why are you not letting people believe what they want? I'm like, wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Me telling you that your ideas are bullshit, is that forcing you to not believe in those? Like, how is that forcing you to leave Islam, right? Is that really, like, if I come to you and say, first of all, here's an important point. No content we put out there is forced on anyone. Anybody that sees our content, they either came looking for our content, or they don't know how to control their feed. Like, I can teach them how to block our pages and stuff like that. It's very easy, right? I mean, Salman Rushdie said the easiest way to not get offended by a book is just not read it, right? And now it's even easier when it comes to social media. Every social media platform makes it very easy for you to be exposed to the content that you want to be exposed to. So let people believe what they want is such a bullshit demand, because there is no way to not let people believe what they want, because there's no way for you to force. You're only forced by your own reasoning, right? And if you are exposed to certain ideas and you're being forced by your own reasoning to change your views, that's a good thing. But that's not us forcing you to change your views. That's you yourself deciding that you want to be exposed to certain ideas and then having no choice but to change your ideas because of it. Anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beej is saying there's a sign in a window near me that says end Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and anti-LGBTQ discrimination. Nice thought, but they need to talk to one group on that list about the other two. Yeah, that's true. Noor Reza. Okay, so now we're getting to Raif Badawi. Raif's case is very sad. Right. It really surprises me that Saudi Arabia has gone to such an extent to defend its fault. What do you think the strength factor working behind this behavior? What's the? I think he's saying, what's their intention? Why are they doing this? So just a little bit of background for people who don't know. Raif Badawi is a Saudi activist who started a website called Free Saudi Liberals. He is currently in prison in Saudi Arabia because he was charged with a range of crimes. Insulting Islam was one of them. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He's served 6 years now. He was sentenced to 1,000 lashes, and he was whipped 50 times in early 2015. After that, a lot of us who were his friends went out and we did a big sort of media thing and awareness thing. So his case got a lot of international attention, and they stopped the flogging, thankfully. Yet he remains in jail. His wife Insaf and his 3 kids are all living in Canada. So what happened is that Insaf actually got her Canadian citizenship very recently, and when Justin Trudeau was running, when he was a candidate, he had met Insaf, and he had made several public pleas for the release of Raif Badawi. But after he got elected for a very long time, he didn't say anything. Although they apparently did used to bring the issue up with the Saudis in private. So what happened recently, just I think a week or two ago, is the foreign minister in Canada, Minister of Foreign Affairs in Canada, Chrystia Freeland, sent out a tweet. And this tweet was sent a few days after Samar Badawi, who is Raif's sister, who lives in Saudi Arabia, and she's a women's rights activist, and she was a big instrumental activist in terms of getting women the right to drive, be able to drive. She was arrested by the Saudis, and she's also put in prison, along with about a dozen other women activists who fought for the right of women to drive in Saudi Arabia, because women were not allowed to drive cars. And this is now legal. The current crown prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, has made it legal for women to drive as of this year. Yet they took these, about a dozen of these activists, including Samar, and then they put her in jail. Samar is an international hero. She's recognized around the world. There's a famous picture of her with Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton receiving the Women of Courage, the State Department's Women of Courage Award. And the State Department that is now not supporting Canada. Anyway, that's a different issue. So in response to this tweet that Chrystia Freeland sent, Saudi Arabia decided to cut all diplomatic ties. They recalled their ambassador from their ambassador to Canada. They gave the Canadian ambassador to Saudi Arabia 24 hours to leave. They also, this is insane. They asked that all students in Canadian universities be pulled out of Canadian universities and transferred to other universities. They asked that all patients in Canadian hospitals, Saudi patients, be moved to other hospitals. Okay.
Holy fuck.
So there are a lot of things that they did, and there are reasons for it. I mean, there are many sort of medical doctors in Canada who are in Ontario, for instance, who are working, and the healthcare system needs them. Many of them are Saudi, and if you remove them, obviously the healthcare system suffers. There isn't a whole lot of other places they can hit Canada, so they're thinking of very petty ways to do it. So this became suddenly. This issue with Raif, he's a friend of many of ours, and this issue that was kind of an activist issue for a long time. Now it's at the center of an international diplomatic firestorm. There's a lot more attention to it, and the Crown Prince is doubling down. He's completely freaking out.
I told you, remember from very early on, this when everybody was hopeful about the reforms, I was like, "Well, this is all horse shit." Remember?
You were right.
Yeah,
right. And the thing is, with Mohammed bin Salman, one of the things that
this is always the face of Islamic reform in Iran, in Saudi Arabia, everywhere else. Whenever you hear reform, religion, a name of a religion plus reform next to it, be very, very afraid. Be like, this is a cover for a very dangerous ideology. Whenever you hear reform, be very skeptical. Right.
So, one of the issues with this is every time we talk to anybody from, whenever I've talked to Raif's family, they say the same thing. His family, and they say that Raif wrote about these things that the Crown Prince is doing. Raif wrote about the reason he's in jail is because he wrote about the right of women to drive. He wrote about separation of religion and state in Saudi Arabia. He wrote about liberal secularism in Saudi Arabia. He didn't say anything about atheism or anything. It's just separation of religion and state. He talked about women being able to vote. He talked about democratic values. These are all the things that Mohammed bin Salman, he talked about curtailing the religious police, the Mutawa in Saudi Arabia. These are things that the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, or MBS as he's known, is doing. He's not doing those things. No. Armin, let me make my point. He's superficially, he's going out and he's putting out these reforms, right, and he's doing the exact same stuff, but he wants credit for it. And Raif, who said the same thing, and he said it genuinely, Raif's in jail for saying these things. Meanwhile, this guy is going around the world trying to paint himself as a reformer,
right?
Because he took those same things. So it's it's a pretty sick double standard, and you can't really expect a lot of rationality from these guys anyway. But it is in a way, it's a very scary situation because we worry for Raif's health and the other prisoners and many other prisoners like him. But on the other hand, it is also a sign that Saudi Arabia is panicking. This is a very extreme reaction to something like this, and this kind of shows that they feel like that they're scared of something. There's something happened that they're not.
Well, they're scared of Iran right now, and they're trying. This whole reform thing is because they're running out of money, and they need investments from the world. And we're like, hey, there's new Saudi Arabia, bring your monies in, but it's all just a show. This always confirms the same thing. None of these rights mean anything without the right to free speech. This is all rights. If these rights come from the top, these are just something that you could give to people when you want media attention and take away as easily as you just gave it to people. But these are rights that you don't get as a gift. These are rights that you take from your government. And the first right that you take from, that's why, and it all has to be based on the principle of free speech, because if you can't express yourself and these are things that the government gives to you, you actually haven't gained anything. It's all just a show because it's it could as easily be taken away. This has been happening through history again and again. The women rights that Reza Shah gave, like, women education in Iran and stuff, it all just went away, right? Because you didn't give this value of people being able to speak against authorities. Without that, none of these other rights mean anything. The rights that Ataturk gave, like education, anti-religion, still, he was still, it was still not free. It wasn't a free country. When you need, these are rights that need to be taken from the bottom, from the top, not given from the top to the bottom, to the people. And if it's not achieved that way, it's not going to be lasting, and it's just only going to be for show. And people who are buying it are slowing down actually the real freedoms and the real rights that you enjoy. Here's an example, right? You could be either in a family where I like, imagine if I tell my wife that, okay, you're not going to eat tonight because I didn't like the way you talked to me in the party, right? In front of everybody, you embarrassed me. So you're going to go to sleep hungry tonight, right? And if she just snaps at me and says, fuck off, like, what the hell are you just talking about? She makes it, like, she reacts in a way that makes it clear that was such a bullshit thing for me to say, and retaliates in a way that I would never ever think of ever saying something like that. That's a right she managed to show the authority that she has in this household and didn't give me ground. And that's the real meaningful way that you show the rights that you have. Right? But if I create an environment where I decide that, okay, you sit here, you sit in the corner because you misbehaved, or I beat my wife, or I don't feed her or punish her in cruel ways, because I have authority and she doesn't in my household. And then one day I come and say, like, okay, from now on you get to eat 2 meals a day instead of 3 meals a day. As long as you keep behaving this way that I want you to behave. And if you come and clap for that, and if you come and say, wow, great, this is a step in the right direction. This is actually not a step in the right direction. This is a step in the wrong direction because you're applauding the position of authority that I have, right? If you clap when I'm actually now rewarding my wife because of good behavior, if you think that's a step in the right direction, you are encouraging my behavior. You're encouraging the authority I have in this relationship. Anyways, I hope it. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's good. Okay, so they don't want to talk to Satan. Okay, that's Beach. Jim King is saying, do you think it is the marginalized that would be more radical, looking for an identity and finding it through being part of a true religion instead of embracing liberal Western values? So are they the marginalized, the people who are disenfranchised and everything? Are they the ones who have a tendency to be more radical, who are looking for an identity? And
wait, what's the question again? Sorry, can you repeat that?
He's saying, the whole idea is who's more likely to become a part of a true religion, in quote, like a really pious, fundamentalist type of person. Would it be someone who is? He's saying, do you think that it would be the marginalized that would tend to be more radical? Because they're looking for an identity and because they're finding it through being part of a true religion instead of embracing liberal Western values.
You're talking about in Western countries, right? Like, you're not talking about people in Saudi Arabia or in Iran or in Bangladesh or in Pakistan. Is that who are we talking to?
Yeah, I guess it could be anywhere though.
Because if in Saudi Arabia, no, then you're not. It's not the marginalized. It's the people that are actually inside the bubble of their own religious, family and dogma or.
Yeah, I think it can come from a lot of places. It can come from, it comes from indoctrination for sure. The majority of people who do that, I think in the West, yeah, like as Armin is saying, people who feel disenfranchised, they usually try to look for other things. You have the famous example of Sayyid Qutb, who was one of the sort of the founding fathers of the Muslim Brotherhood. And this is a guy who came to America, and he was to study, and he was just shocked by what he saw. I mean, he described in one of his books that he went into a church basement. Yeah. A basement at a church where people were dancing, and all he saw, and he wrote, he's like, there were, hips pressed against hips, and there were women moving their bodies, and he was just completely, he was almost obsessed with the sort of the sexual displays. Everything that he saw was a sexual display in the United States. And then he went back, and that was actually one of the things that drove him to become really active and pretty much functionally, in a way, found the Muslim Brotherhood and its ideology as we know it today. So there are people, I wrote about this in my book in terms of identity formation. I touched on it a little bit. The 4th chapter is called A Tale of Two Identities, where we discussed 4 ways in which people develop their identities that are based on how much you explore and then how much you commit. So people who explore a lot of different options, who are exposed to a wide variety of different ways to live, like in pluralistic societies. So you see the way how Western people live, how conservative societies live, and so on. And then when you explore, then you commit to a set of values that you feel is more you. Then there are other people who don't explore a whole lot, and they have to commit. And those are people who, for example, are indoctrinated. They haven't been exposed to a lot of things, but their parents have always been religious Christians or Muslims, so they become religious Christians and Muslims without exploring. So high commitment, low exploration. Then there are people who have high exploration but no commitment. They're like the wandering souls. And then you have the people who don't have either. So generally, the people who've been shown to have to edge towards radicalism of any kind are the people who have low levels of exploration and high levels of commitment. I mean, this is a sociologist. I don't know. He was a Canadian guy named Marcia who came up with these classifications. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell into it too much, as well. It'll become a longer conversation. But this is a very interesting topic, and do check out, if you have my book, check out chapter 4 in it. I described it.
I just want to point out that we shouldn't be only focusing on the pious. I mean, I'm not saying you're doing that, but the non-pious ones are the ones that give you the numbers, right? They give you the cover for the pious ones to cause their harm. So without that cover, the ideology wouldn't last that long, right? Like, you don't get the huge numbers of Christians and Muslims is mostly with the non-pious ones, and the non-pious ones are the ones is basically the sugar coating for the poison that is in the middle. So we need to.
But they do that largely because they look at it as they look at the identity aspect, because they feel like it's part of their identity and they're defensive of it. So even if they don't necessarily believe the values, or they're ignoring Islam, as you say, right? They still think of it as part of as a sort of birth identity. Like I'm
and that's a huge problem.
I'm a Muslim, right? Yeah,
and that's a huge problem, because then they give it authority. They give it.
Yeah, it is the worst thing. The most evil thing about religion in general is the way that it gets its tentacles into this ideology, gets its tentacles into your identity. That's one of the worst things.
And that's why I think a lot of like anti-extremist programs out there are completely getting it wrong, because they're trying to figure out who are the extremes or who are the pious ones, and try to see how could you stop that mentality, instead of addressing the whole Islam as an ideology as a whole, because none of these organizations will ever look at just addressing Islam, because that's not like the right thing to do. That's not the PC thing to do. But that is the solution. And I always say, like, people like YouTube videos of Dawkins or Carl Sagan has been responsible for has de-radicalized more people than any of this PC anti-extremism bullshit out there, or anti-radical, anti-terrorist programs out there. None of them have ever produced as much of a result as just going out and telling people what's fact and how do you recognize facts from bullshit. That's the solution. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got I shared this thing on my Facebook, and I just got a comment from a guy who is called Matthew Noel. It's clearly a fake name when you go to his profile. He says, "I wish I can kill you in front of all world. I'm not Muslim, but I want to kill you because you are doing really bad, you motherfucker, son of bitch. And remember, from today, I'll start my mission to find you. No matter where you are, I'll find you." And then it cuts off.
Wait, who is that to? To you?
I have no idea. It's just a comment on our on where I posted that we're doing a live. Oh no, it's on your thing. It's on Armin's.
Oh, nice.
It's on your, yeah. So there you go. Another one to add to it. They keep on coming. So, clearly Matthew Noel is a fake name, and he's saying I'm not Muslim, but that's always a
I'm
thing.
not Muslim. Why are you trying to find me?
I know.
Like, you seem to be very, Matthew.
Yeah. So this interesting name: Islam, Zionism, Progressive Left, Alt-Right, and Geopolitics. That is your name. Anyway, so this person is asking, Daniel Hakikaju can't imagine human morality can evolve. I saw him express this during a lecture he held somewhere. Have you guys discussed that before?
Oh, by the way, the Matthew guy that says I'm not a Muslim, he has a flag of Pakistan.
Yeah, he's clearly Pakistan. It also says on his profile he's from Qadian, which is a small city in Pakistan. So yeah, he's
okay, Matthew, sure.
Pakistan.
That's your real name. Okay.
Matthew Noel. But he did a name with a silent K. That's pretty impressive. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not something you expect from Islamic fundamentalists or Trump supporters. Okay, so I saw him express this. Yeah, so Daniel Hakikaju can't imagine human morality can evolve. I saw him express this during a lecture to be held somewhere. Have you guys discussed that before? If/how human ethics and morality can evolve? We actually have. So, because this would be a very, very long discussion for Q&A, I would probably refer you to two conversations we had in the past. In the past, we had a conversation with Jerry Coyne, who is an evolutionary biologist and very, very smart, brilliant guy. So he was on the show a few episodes ago. So check.
That was one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, mine too. And
I think he's so underrated. Like really, more people need to know about this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm going to say 3 episodes. The second one that we had was with Steven Pinker. So Steven Pinker, many of you know, he's the author of Enlightenment Now. So Armin and I had a really fantastic conversation with him a few weeks ago. So that's also out.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
And the third one is Matt Dillahunty, who is both me and Armin. So we talked about a little bit. We touched on human ethics and morality.
A lot of atheists know Matt Dillahunty. But even though he's famous among atheist circles, Matt Dillahunty, I think he's way too underrated compared to how much he contributed. Like, Matt Dillahunty needs to be like Sam Harris level famous or Dawkins famous.
I think he's actually probably one of the most brilliant minds that I know.
Yeah.
That I've ever watched. If you watch him debate anybody on stage and how spontaneous and quick on his feet he is, he's just got a mind that's just sharp.
Yeah, what I'm waiting for.
That's actually
what would be the best debate match? Ben Shapiro versus Matt Dillahunty on God. That would be an awesome debate.
That would be good
because Matt doesn't let anybody bullshit around all the excuses that Ben Shapiro makes for God.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you guys want to check that out, those 3 episodes, Jerry Coyne, Steven Pinker, Matt Dillahunty, and Matt Dillahunty also debated Jordan Peterson, and we talked quite a bit on our show as well. So check out those 3 episodes of Secular Jihadists in the past, and you'll get a good idea. Thank you for that question. Brian Harrison, I love this guy. He's still asking us to check out his boy Tekashi69. I don't know how to pronounce that. Can you type in how to pronounce that so I can pronounce it right and I can plug it properly? His music video with Nicki Minaj named Fifi. Everybody go out and check that out later after you're done watching this. Beej, Armin went into the back alley. We covered that. Specialist generalist is saying, hi, Armin, this is Alex. We met in Sydney. I was the first to leave the bar after the day of reckoning.
Hi, Alex.
I'm trying to watch this at work. Hey, if you're still watching, thank you for doing that. I know that's a lot of fun to watch.
Don't get fired for us.
Why were you the first to leave the bar?
Probably had a flight to catch.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I never thought of that. I was like, I wouldn't be bragging about that. Oh, I was the first to leave the bar. Anyway. Okay, so there's some other comments.
I met a lot of great people in Sydney. I want to go back one day.
Oh, I can't wait to see your video in the no-go area.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wasn't a no-go area. That was an exaggeration. Yeah. Like they call it a no-go zone, and I went to a no-go zone, and it was easy to go to a no-go zone, which basically is contradictory to its definition of a no-go zone.
Yeah. So, here's said ex-Muslim atheist. Can you guys create and host a call-in show on YouTube?
Well, we're going to be having a lot more Patreon-only meetups. So we're going to, with our patrons, we're going to have like hanging out, just talking like just like me and Ali are, but like with 3 other people at a time, which are our patrons. I don't know, call-in shows might be difficult to pull, but just hanging out with patrons on Google Hangout and talking to them live, that's something we're going to do. We were trying to manage doing that one by one, and it ended up being so difficult scheduling wise. So I think we're going to do 3 at a time once we figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
And you can become a patron if you're interested in doing that and taking part in the more like the one-on-one stuff that or the group chats that Armin is talking about.
Right.
Because go to patreon.com/sjme.
Actually, no.
Or just go to secular.
Yeah. I'm in the process of making a website. If you go right now to secularjihadists.com, you can see it's not ready yet, but I'm making it's working. Like you can see, it's a work in progress. So secularjihadists.com, but there's going to be also you know how a lot of our patrons have access to patron only content, which is our videos with our guests. But every time they're like, hey, where's that video? Like of you and Steven Pinker, I can't find it. And they have to like scroll down to find the video because they want to, I'm going to make it very easy for patrons to access the content that they have only access to on our website at some point. So all of the patron only content is on one page.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out. Secularjihadist.com. Work in progress. It's still happening, but it's gonna happen. Jim is saying John Paul Pagobo comment to Armin should be mentioned. He said, quote, outrageous. It is not right to out somebody not ready. Let Allah out himself.
Yeah.
You don't know how homophobic his people are. I consider this a very, it's something phobic, probably transphobic, because he said, let Allah out himself.
No, you're right. I'm sorry to add.
There should be themselves.
Wait. Oh.
We don't know. You're assuming Allah's gender.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So I know Armin should have been careful about that.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I apologize to Allah if he wasn't ready to come out. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I think it was for a good cause, but if you weren't ready, I sincerely apologize.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good one. B just saying hi, Michael, and Michael saying hi, everybody. Okay, hi, both of you guys. Shruti is saying, hey guys, I love all you do. I'm a secular Indian living in the USA and a huge fan. I'm so excited to watch you all live right now. That's amazing. I love it. I love all the hearts you put on. So all right back at you.
And she asked another question below about having an ex-Hindu on, which you are preparing one.
We are doing that. So I have, one of my friends, and I love his writing. His name is, an ex-Hindu. Okay, I'm actually not gonna mention this person yet. But the thing is that we will be having an episode on the whole Hindutva thing and all of the stuff that's happening in India right now with the Hindu nationalism, because we tend to get a lot of grief from them too.
Yeah, Hindu nationalism is becoming scarier and scarier, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's getting pretty nuts.
Yeah.
We have Juna is saying good comments by both of you. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I'd like to be on. Beach. Oh, what happened here? Are you sharing a screen?
Oh no, am I?
Yeah, something happened on the live thing. It all switched to little squares and stuff. I look a lot better this way. Oh, shit. My face is back. All right. Oh, I'm being self-deprecating. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, you're seeing some of my screen is. Nobody told me about this. How come some of my screen is showing up in your screen? Let me fix that. All right, keep going. Go.
Is it? That's pretty cool. Oh, wow. That's awesome.
You should go a little bit to the... Can you go a little bit to your left? To your left.
My left.
Move a little bit to your left. Move more. Okay.
Jesus. Okay, even more?
Yeah. Oh, I know what to do, actually. I could just reduce... No, I can't. Anyway.
Yeah, this is getting like I have to lean. I'm going to get back pains. Anyway, I'm an old man. Okay, so Shruti's continuing. She's saying also any plans on to bring in any ex-Hindu. Oh, so that's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we will be doing that. Beach. Oh shit, I lost my place. Hold on. Sorry, guys. There's so many questions here. I'm trying to.
There's two of me.
Okay, yeah, I'm back where I was. Hizbut Tahrir guy in the USA claimed he couldn't speak while giving a speech. Well, yeah, that I guess that happens. People do get shouted down. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of shouting down. It's not necessarily a legal free speech issue, but it'd be nice if people were able to talk and we could expose their ideas. Now, can't Islam just give up on politically repressive ideas without giving up on the spiritual side of it?
What spiritual side? The spiritual side of it is also a problem.
They're connected. They're both integrated deeply with each other.
If Islam had no politics and it was only spiritual, it would still be wrong. Okay? It's still bullshit, right? You can't just stop opposing ideas that are wrong just because they're not political. You know, you attack bullshit wherever you see it, right? Like astrology, right? How many people have been killed by astrology so far? I don't, not many, but you have to call it out as nonsense, because if we allow harmless bullshit without evidence, we also allow harmful bullshit without evidence, because once you remove the filter of reason, you have no control over what gets through. That's the only place where you could make a difference. What other filter can you introduce?
If people believe in guardian angels and really nice things that have no evidence for them, they are more susceptible to believing demagogues and conspiracy theories.
Right.
It's just a fact. So just because the guardian angels are not necessarily harmful, because they give you comfort, because they make you feel nice, even though they're not true, you're not applying your critical thinking filter to it. You're not applying reason to it. So then later on, when something that is harmful comes up,
right,
and someone does come up and tell you that the Sandy Hook thing didn't happen, or
right,
or whatever it is,
vaccines cause autism or something,
or that it's okay to kill infidels, and if you don't have that process, if you haven't tuned your mind to think in a critical way, to shoot down false claims, then you will be susceptible to it. Who said it, that if you he who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities.
That was Voltaire.
There's Voltaire. Yeah.
But just abandon this idea of changing Islam to something better. Just attack false ideas. Attack claims that are not based on evidence. Whether they're harmful or harmless or don't affect you or affect you, just
whether it's a religion or not.
No to bullshit, right? No to bullshit, regardless of what bullshit it is. Right? Just struck them down. Okay. Don't try to change the bullshit to a bullshit that you think is harmless. That's not very effective way of attacking nonsense. Just say you have no evidence. The process shouldn't be like, hey, is this going to affect me or not? No, the process is like, does this make sense? That's the process. That's the most effective. It has always been the most effective process. It has always been the most consistent process. And trying to make excuses for other bullshit is not going to help you in the long term. It's not the worthwhile investment. Go.
Yeah, and just because something is a religion, a religion is nothing but a set of ideas in a book. Just because something is a religion doesn't mean that it can't be attacked in the same way that you'd attack any other bad ideas. And just because loads and loads and loads of people believe in it doesn't necessarily mean it's right. You know what else loads and loads and loads of people believed in until very recently was slavery. The last country to abolish slavery was Oman in 1970. They had slavery until 1970. Saudi Arabia had it until 1962. When you look at the dates when slavery was abolished, it was very, very recent. All of our ancestors practiced it worldwide, and it was a really tough thing for them to let go. And people used to say the same thing. It's in the Bible. It's in the Quran. Why should we abolish it? We've been doing it for so many millions of people do it. There's so many people who think it's okay. But now we know very obviously that human beings should not be owning other human beings. They just shouldn't. This was not obvious less than a century ago to many people. So no, just because a lot of people believe in something, it doesn't matter if they're in the billions or millions, unless you apply reason and skepticism to it, it doesn't hold any water. So attack bad ideas wherever you see them. It doesn't matter how many people think that they're sacred.
So Greg Norris has a response to that, saying, really, you want to get rid of honesty, truth, grace, forgiveness, and all other good things about Christianity so you can have your utopian secular world? That has so many fallacies in there. I don't even know where to start. First of all,
you can't talk to a Christian about fallacies.
Okay, so you want to get rid of honesty. First of all, that's exactly the opposite of what you're saying. Okay, Christianity is nonsense, and if you want to be honest about it, then you have to admit that's actually being honest about that. None of the claims in the Bible is backed up by evidence. So that's honesty. No, I don't want to get rid of honesty. Honesty demands you to be anti-Christianity. Where did that go? It went up. Sorry.
Christianity. We have Christianity today because there was somebody because of modesty culture. There was a girl who did not want to be slut shamed. Right. She had sex and she got pregnant, and she did not want to be slut shamed because she lived in a culture of modesty, and that gave us an entire religion that essentially screwed over the world for centuries and centuries and centuries. So yeah, there's absolutely no honesty when your starting premise is a virgin birth and a resurrection, someone getting up and getting zombified 3 days after he was killed on a cross.
This is so rich. She's saying you want to get rid of truth. No, we want to get rid of Christianity because we stand for truth.
Exactly.
Great. And you want to get rid of grace? Yes, we do want to get rid of grace because the concept of grace in Christianity is a nonsense bullshit idea that you only can get salvation through Christ, no matter how evil you are and no matter how good you are. If you don't get salvation, you're going to get eternal torture. That's a very sadistic and bullshit ideology that I don't know how it ever managed to get so much people accepting it as fair. Forgiveness in Christianity is also nonsense because the way it teaches, like
you have hell, eternal punishment.
Yeah, you're talking about a God that tortures people forever because they didn't accept Jesus, even if they don't commit any crimes, because some lady many years ago ate an apple. We all are born with originals. He can't get over that. He has to torture his son, and we have to accept his torture for us to be forgiven for this lady that ate an apple. And yeah, that's nonsense. And all the other good things. What other good things? There are no good. Here's the thing. I make this bold claim and I dare you to come at me. I will tell you there are no good things in Christianity. Zero. Okay? No good things in Christianity. There's nothing in Christianity that is worth preserving.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'll challenge
even if there is something that is even if there is something that's seemingly good, it's completely unoriginal. It's something that predated Christianity, and Confucius or Buddha or somebody else came up with it. Everything
that is so like people say that is good about Christianity.
Same thing goes for Islam. Yeah,
it's the same. It's the same stuff Bin Salman is doing. Basically the whole idea of like, hey, here's some good stuff. Like
that's a good Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Bin Salman.
No, yeah, well, actually, yeah. But no, basically it's the same thing. It's basically like, hey, kill the infidels and beat your wife and take women as slaves in war. Yeah, also be nice to orphans. Yeah. Like that's just a cover for all that nonsense.
Only our orphans, not the orphans that you get from the Yazidis in war. That's a very different.
Oh yeah, you have to sell them as slaves. Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. Those you can take as slaves. Okay, anyway.
That's the sugar coating for the poison pill. Go on.
Yeah.
And as you said, stolen from other ideas. Stolen, like, all the morality stuff in Christianity was a step backwards. Greek philosophers and many other people have discussed morality in much more nuanced ways, years before Christianity was even a thing. This simplistic, warm, fuzzy messages in Christianity that, thou shalt not kill unless they start worshiping a golden cow or the witch or they're gay. Like, first of all, it's so simplistic. The morality in the Bible is, a 5-year-old could come up with a better moral standard than that. But go on, sorry.
Okay. So B just saying I can't stand the word tolerate. Even Anjum Chaudhry said Islam tolerates Christians. I agree with you. I think it's a terrible word. It's really weird that it became popular with religion. Like, it's just religious people. Oh, we have tolerance for other religions. We tolerate them.
Greg,
like, wait. Try saying that to your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Greg, I was like, oh, hey, I tolerate you.
Greg is saying so, and I'll be praying for your hate-filled heart. That's such a sneaky way to be hateful to people without actually admitting that you're being hateful to people. Like, your hate-filled heart. Like, that's basically a Christian way of saying fuck you. All right, go on.
I love the fact that all of these things, like these doctrines that are completely full of hate,
right,
and they pretend to be, love your enemy and love me and accept me as your savior. Otherwise, I'm going to throw you in hell and torture you forever. Like that whole, it's like some love that is. It's hilarious.
Right.
Anyway, so Sohan D'Souza has got a nice little emoji there. Hey, Sohan, I love you, man. I can't wait to see you again. Imagine saying Saudi Arabia's rules are too harsh and then proving it. Yep. Then Killian Corus. Killian Corus has his own podcast, and I'm going to be on it. And we're scheduling that, and so we're going to have a conversation. Killian's a patron, and he's a lot of fun. He says, "What do you think about Insaf Heather?" Insaf Heather is Raif's wife. Her embrace of figures like Imam Tawhidi and some figures on the farish right. I don't really know, Killian. I have a lot of friends that there's a very dynamic conversation. People have different people that they agree with. I mean, Armin and I have disagreed on figures like Tommy Robinson.
Hey, if my husband was in jail and being, I would get whatever help I could get, right?
I would do that too. I know Insaf personally very well. She's a very, very dear friend of mine. So is Raif.
If my mom or husband or wife or brother or sister was like in prison and fucking Hitler or Stalin came and said like, hey, this person should be freed, I would be like, yes, Hitler, please come and help me. Like I would support Hitler at that point. Come on, like you have your loved ones in jail. Like you can't really be selective.
But Armin, so I don't want to, but I don't want to, because since we're talking about Insaf here, I don't want to put her in that kind of thing. I think that she does think, and she has her own way of processing who she supports and who she likes.
I'm not saying she's not thinking. I'm saying that's the most logical thing to do.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So, but in any case, I'm saying that I know all three of the kids. I love them to death. I have the deepest respect and admiration for Insaf. She's a great friend of ours for many years.
We're not in a position to judge. You're in a very desperate situation. Yeah. Anybody that throws you a bone, you have no choice but to take it. I think. Yeah. Yeah.
But I and what I know of her is that I know that she has certain ideas. I know she has a clear heart, and even though we disagree on things, and yes, Insaf and I disagree on a lot of things. Yes, Armin and I disagree on a lot of things. Yasmin and I disagree on a lot of things. We do, and that's fine. And there's someone who Armin might really like, who I might insult like crazy on Twitter, and vice versa, and that'll be okay. And we just know that we disagree, but it doesn't matter. There's a lot more to us than who we ally with and who we're friends with. And there's a lot more that makes us who we are.
Right.
Yeah. Juna is saying Imam Tawhidi criticizes Islam, which equals far right.
No, he doesn't criticize Islam. I wish he criticizes Islam.
He
criticizes Muslims.
Imam Tawhidi he's a Shia theocrat. A lot of people don't know it because they're only familiar with Sunni Islam, but Shia theocrats are actually very known to sound a lot like people who oppose, because they oppose Wahhabism, they oppose all of the Sunni doctrines and everything. But you're never really going to hear him apart from the odd criticism of Khomeini, which is not very controversial among today's Shia.
A lot of Shias think Khomeinism is a misguided branch of Shiism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not that criticizing Khomeini is not necessarily controversial in the Shia world right now, but he is. You won't really see him doing that much. So I would say, and I think that Imam Tawhidi, a lot of stuff he said has been dangerously anti-free speech. So that's also something that I'm totally not down with. So, and yes, it is true. There are many people who do criticize Islam who do tend to be far right. In fact, most of the far right can't stand Islam. We have that. We actually do have that in common with them. We criticize them as well. That doesn't mean that they have the right solutions or they have the right intentions or the right reasons for doing it. A lot of them are sympathetic to fundamentalist Christianity. We're not. Right. A lot of them are very, very inconsistent, and they're sort of one-trick ponies and just they're single-issue people. They are just focusing on Islam. It's not overall coming from a place of rationality or evidence-based criticism or critical thinking. It's not coming from that. It's coming from a very sort of narrow vision. So yeah, you might see phenotypically on the surface that, okay, these people criticize Islam, we criticize Islam, but they come from very different places. It's like people who criticize foreign policy. There are a lot of people who are very reasonable who don't like a lot of things that the U.S. does in terms of foreign policy. But on the other hand, there are jihadists who Bin Laden didn't like U.S. foreign policy either. It does not mean they're the same.
Yeah, but it's fair to agree with people that we usually disagree with when they make a point that we agree with.
Yeah.
Even if the worst of people, if they say a point that we agree with, they're like, yeah, okay, that's a fair point. I think it's okay. And if we point out that that's a fair point, people are like, oh, how could you support this person? Or like, well, this point right that he made just right here, that's right. I don't know about his other points. I'm just pointing out that what he said right here, right now, that's correct. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not endorsing everything else the fucker said.
Yeah.
Right. Go on.
No, this is actually a really important point because, and I'll give you a very specific example. So when I was in Amsterdam for the Dutch book release, there was an interview and everybody was asking me about Geert Wilders. Geert Wilders is he's the Dutch MP. And he's known for he wants to ban the Quran, and he's like very sort of not only anti-Islam but anti-Muslim in a lot of ways, even though he denies it. But I think he is. And they asked me about it, and I said I agree with his criticisms of Islam. I think that he's right about it. He's actually quite knowledgeable about it, and I think that when it comes to his criticism of Islam, he is right. However, the kind of things he wants to do are the kind of things that would turn us into them. I mean, all of these people who are
not exactly.
This is what I think. I think that when these people who are living in caves and all these Islamists and stuff, when they look at us over here, they know that they can't take down the West with their little old missiles and tanks and things like that. But what they can do is they can create such a panic that we start compromising on civil liberties. We start compromising on free speech. We start compromising on all of the other things that are at the foundation of what Western civilization is. And the moment when we start compromising on human rights, and when Theresa May tweeted that, if human rights laws get in the way of our security, then we will change our human rights laws. She actually said that in a tweet. When you have that, that's the way that they can take you down. So even though I think that his criticisms are right, I think his solutions and people like him and the solutions that they have are completely wrong. Yeah. And that's one thing.
They're wrong, but it's not as far as turning us into them. Like they are way far out. Islam is
they're way far. But if we start, I mean, we're not going to turn into them and start throwing gays off rooftops. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But if we start compromising on our values and start saying, okay, we'll change our human rights laws for security or things like that, then I think that we're playing into their hands.
Yeah,
that's what they want us to do.
We're basically the same kind of attitude.
Because they want us to cannibalize ourselves and compromise on our values. If we start doing that with civil rights, and we start doing that with free speech, and we start doing that with the stuff, then it's a problem.
Let's go to the next one. I see some comments I want to respond to. So
okay, I'd say so. Let's move off of Tawhidi. Do you guys think Salman is only making Saudi Arabia more oppressive in an attempt to maintain power?
Yes.
Arrest anybody that? Yeah. So we already talked about that. Yes, we do think he is. Yeah.
He's like the worst human rights. The world's largest criminal right now because of the greatest human rights crisis right now in the world right now. I think it's Yemen, which bin Salman is mostly responsible for.
Yeah.
So he is the worst of the worst in our world today. But go on.
So I don't know about many Skytails saying this. I don't know about many Saudi doctors in Ontario. I know about many Jew doctors, but not Arabs. So this is an interesting question. Well, one thing is that the Saudis may have used Canada as an example in this because Canada and Saudi Arabia don't really need each other as much as, say, the U.S. and Saudi Arabia do. Right, and that's why the U.S. hasn't shown solidarity with Saudi Arabia. But the places where Canada does benefit from Saudi Arabia is there are 16,000 foreign students in Canadian universities who are Saudi. They all pay foreign fees, and that actually brings in millions and millions and millions of dollars to the Canadian economy. So yes, when they pull out all their students, they know that it's going to hurt Canada to some extent, even though it won't be really, really severe. When it comes to Saudi doctors, Saudi Arabia does send its doctors and its residents to foreign countries for postgraduate training, and they fund it, right? So they actually fund Canadian healthcare in a way. So when they take that away, that also hits the healthcare system, and it decreases the manpower that we have to treat patients. And there already is a physician shortage in a lot of provinces in Ontario. So these are tactics that the Saudis are using to hit at Canada because they know that they can't really hit them with other things like oil, right? Which we don't really.
I really think Saudi is going down in the next 20 years or so, man. Like I really think as we find more alternative sources of energy, they don't have the plans to to find other sources. Like they seem so incompetent, and they seem to making. I just think this. I'm not sure, but I think shit is going to hit the fan in Saudi Arabia pretty soon, and I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I think it's going to happen in a lot of those regions.
Right.
So, did you see those cyclists that were killed biking across Afghanistan? Troll not. No, I didn't actually. Unfortunately, I can't comment on that.
I know. There's a recent Taliban attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know in Kabul that was horrific.
Yeah.
Okay. So conscience. Now that some of them are kind of talking to each other. Okay. Why are there so many ginger converts to Islam?
I already responded to that.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I said because they don't have any soul.
Okay, so you did.
Right.
Because gingers have no soul.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll. I'll keep going. Has anyone figured out how the number of 2.8 billion Muslims has worked out? They can't all be Sunni. There are 2.8 billion Muslims.
Wait, 2.8? How did it? No,
1.8.
1.8. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't. I didn't.
No, I think that there are. Yeah, they can't all be Sunni. There are many other ones as well, but this is counting Muslims who were born in Muslim families. Most ex-Muslims in the world, most secular Muslims, were also born in Muslim families. So, whenever they say that that Islam will be the biggest religion in 2050 or whatever, that's not counting a lot of people who may not believe in the religion by that time, which I think there'll be much fewer, especially with the millennial generation. Talked about the Catholic mess in Pennsylvania. Oh, man. Yeah, this is fucking horrible, isn't it? The Catholic, 300 priests and over 1,000 victims.
Yeah.
Again, what are you going to say about that? I mean, this is just... This is the Catholic Church. This is the face of the Catholic Church right now.
Yeah.
It's child molestation.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely horrific. And it's the worst part of it is the way they try to cover it up. If there was any other institution doing this, there's any company where 300 employees were found to do this and the company covered it up, that company would be dead shit in the ground right now. That's what the Catholic Church deserves, but it's not going to happen to the Catholic Church because it's a religion.
Okay.
Hey, you want to say anything else?
No. I think you understand. There's so many things I wanted to get to, but you were so far behind. So let's get to them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost catching up. I'm going really fast.
Okay.
Sohan, speaking of identity, MI5 says there's evidence that a well-established religious identity actually protects against violent radicalization. Any thoughts on that? My thought, I don't know about that. I think that there may be some cases that could be true. I think that the MI5, the CIA, all of these people, I don't think that anything that they've done in terms of counterterrorism has really borne any fruit. I don't think that they've gotten it right yet. When we see the effects of that in the real world, when we see that terrorism is going away, this mindset is going away, then we'll do it. But I think that most of them are in denial, and they're trying to be very, very nice about the fact that religious indoctrination and religious theology is at the root of many of these things. Or even if it's not at the root, it's a key factor. I think it isn't at the root of it. It's a key factor. And until they keep on denying that and trying to find other things, they are going to find things that are not true.
I think,
or even true, they're only sort of peripheral. And unless it's borne out by evidence, unless we actually see the results of the ideology going down, not the attacks.
It's missing I think people are missing the point. I think people people don't understand that this whole terrorism stuff is like a small fraction of the cost of religion.
Exactly.
Right? They keep on obsessing over when people think of cost of religion, they just imagine suicide bombers. And when it comes to Islam, they think of suicide bombers. When it comes to Christianity, they think of child molestation. But with both of these, that's like a fraction of the cost to the economy, to social life, to our health, to our to everything. I mean, I always give examples of like in Philippines, just as this attitude towards, for example, anything that stops a pregnancy could be seen as a negative. The consequences of that to the economy and to people's lives has been so devastating. And nobody thinks about, most people don't think about, cost of Christianity, Philippines, a country with so many people. How many people has that affected? Way more than many people are in poverty than the children that the Catholic Church have molested than just in one country, right? How many politicians have made decisions based on their faith rather than something more, rational? How many people are not with the people that they love because of their religions? How many people are ashamed of their sexual orientation, are disgusted by who they are because of their religion? How many people have been disowned by their family? How many people are spending time in the mosque instead of their family because of their religion? Imagine add all that time and that they could have spent on something else. What is the cost associated with that? How many people are donating to churches? How many people are donating to mosques? How many resources are being spent on building on Islamic schools, and how many jobs are being spent on religious, religion related jobs and school and teaching positions and moms. If you add up all the costs of these little things together, they're way above suicide bombing and child molestation. Now, I'm not saying those are not big costs. If you have lost a child because of a suicide bomber, or if your child has been molested by a priest, you would say, fuck you, this is the major cost, right? But obviously those are big problems, but that's not the only thing. So people are like, oh, look, hey, so we have lots of religious people that are not terrorists. So religion is not a problem. That's not the main cause of religion. Religion fucks with us in so many other ways. Now, and it's obvious that it fucks with us in so many ways because of the simple fact that if you make decisions based on bullshit, if you don't make decisions based on beliefs that are closer to reality and closer to truth, that is going to have a cost. That is obviously going to have a cost. Anyways, let's go move on.
And you do have exceptions. Just really quick, I think I met somebody once when I was speaking somewhere, and this guy came up and he told me his dad was just a psychopath. He committed lots of crimes, did horrible things, and then he went to prison, and then he found Christianity and he normalized it. That was the only thing that kept him controlled. So there are cases like that. There are times, but it's not because it's Christianity, it's not because it's Islam, it's just because people find some sort of structure. They could have found the same thing in anything else. It's not a very stable system. Okay. Do you like to do the pod? Casey is saying, do you like to do the podcast with just 2 or miss doing it with 4 people?
I want to do it with 4 people, but 2 patrons, like your 5 people with patrons. So
yeah, with patrons it'd be fun. Yeah. I think there were advantages to both. When you had 4 people, there was a lot more, like it was camaraderie. There were a lot of jokes. But it was
hard to get an opinion out, though.
Yeah, but it was hard to get an opinion out. It was hard to have lengthier and more in-depth discussions. There was a lot of sort of talking over. It was, I think, much more difficult for the sound mixing guy. And and scheduling was tough too. 4 people who were all very, very busy and had a lot of things going on. So, and scheduling along with a guest, that was a tough thing. So that we have a lot easier now. And I like the way that we can get more in depth with conversations now. So they both have their pluses and minuses, but this has really grown on me. I like it with Armin and myself. Armin, it's a very nice, tender moment right now happening. I'm expressing myself emotionally. Anyway. Call-in show. Okay, we're talking about. Let's skip the call-in show stuff. Oh shit. Fuck. I keep on. A specialist generalist is saying. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I wanted to respond to. Is that me pointing out what?
No, there's a lot of things. I disagree with you about grace as an attitude.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I disagree with you about grace as an attitude to have to other people, and also about forgiveness. Do you think punishment is better? Armin, don't go over the top, man. Armin, are you going over the top?
If standing against bullshit, if standing against nonsense, if standing against claims without evidence is going over the top, I will definitely go over the top every day, right? If that's what you mean by going over the top. Grace in Christianity is a bullshit concept. It's a harmful concept. It's a concept that suggests that you need Christianity to be full. It's a concept that teaches you that we are all sick. We're all sinners. We're all need to be. It looks down, like it basically makes you feel like shit. It convinces you that you have a problem, and the only solution is through salvation, is through Christianity. It's a con. The concept of grace in Christianity is a con, and I'm definitely against that concept every day. What was the other concept I said that? Oh, forgiveness. The concept of forgiveness in Christianity is also a bullshit concept, because first of all, because first of all, it is being preached by a God that doesn't, first of all, forgive unless you give it credit, unless the God that is asking you to forgive unconditionally, which is actually a stupid demand. You can't forgive unconditionally. You tell a mom that has lost a child in war to forgive the people that took her child away from them. If you demand that mom to forgive the people that killed her children, you're an asshole, right? No, some people don't deserve forgiveness. But it's so bizarre that this demand for forgiveness and unconditional forgiveness is coming from a God that doesn't forgive unconditionally, that does require you credit, that does demand worship, that does demand submission.
Oh, wow. We said it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's submission. That's what it's submission to Jesus and accepting Jesus as your savior, which is, and submission is, by the way, what Islam means. Islam means to submit.
They're both demanding submission. But the thing is that it is so bizarre, because if you could commit the worst crimes in Christianity, but if you submit to Jesus and if you accept him as your Lord and Savior, if you raped 1,000 children and killed 1,000,000 people, as long as you accept Jesus, you're forgiven. And if you have not hurt a fly and been charitable to every single person that you ever met, and you don't accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, your destiny is eternal torture. That whole concept of forgiveness is nonsense and is so unfair. In fact, Christianity is responsible for popularizing the idea of hell, which is the most sadistic idea humans have ever came up with. So there's Christianity is a barbaric, cruel ideology that doesn't deserve any of this, like, hey, be kind to your neighbor, or, oh, forgive your enemies nonsense. You have to put, that's all just empty, warm, fuzzy shit that is making excuses for one of the most barbaric ideologies in history. I would never excuse any of that because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, cool. So we're done. Yeah, that was kind of fun. You're a lot of fun to listen to when you talk about Christianity. I mean it. Okay, so Alex Grizzly, I think we can give a quick answer to this. He said, should gay Muslims stay a moderate religious Muslim to change the image of Islam and reform the religion?
No.
Or should they drop Islam as a whole? They should drop Islam. I think they should.
If you're trying to change the image of Islam, you're standing in our way of getting rid of nonsense bullshit ideology.
Yeah, and this is it's sort of self-oppression. I think it's very, very clear what Islam says about the gay people. I know people are denial about it. I also want to plug. The
only time that you have to make you have to be like, okay, fine, I'm a Muslim, even though you don't believe in that stuff, is when you are in any threat, right? Like that, you but that's not really you being a Muslim. That's just you pretending to be a Muslim, right?
So I would refer people to listen to our episode with Jimmy Bangash. Jimmy Bangash is a Pakistani, British, ex-Muslim, gay activist, right? So gay ex-Muslim activist. He's also a member of CEMB. So do check out that episode. It was incredible. It was about, I think, 2 hours, but he really talked about what it was like being Muslim and gay, growing up Muslim and gay. It's one of my favorite episodes that we've ever done, and that'll, I think, address a lot of the questions, Alex. Okay, Sohan is saying humans should not own other humans, but Matt Dillahunty will probably own Dinesh D'Souza in November anyway.
Oh my God, yes, I can't.
Oh, he fucking will. So yes, just so you don't know, Penguin Philosophy, who Armin works with, is hosting a Matt Dillahunty and Dinesh D'Souza debate in November. Where is it, Armin? Do you know?
I think that was in New York. Oh my God, you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah. Can you? Well, I mean, you guys have. It's a good thing that you're getting them mixed up, because that means you have a lot of great events happening.
Yeah.
In any case, Armin's going to look that up.
Yeah.
So Jin D is from Saudi Arabia.
By the way, Beach asked a few times about your shirt. You didn't respond to her.
Oh, what did he say?
She. Yes, in New York. Okay, so it's in New York, and is in November. Yeah, I was right. I was right. November 29th in New York. With Dillahunty versus D'Souza. It's on penguinphilosophy.com. Go check it. Don't miss this, guys. This is going to be a major takedown. I mean, this is going to be a bloodbath. But
and Dinesh D'Souza is such a fucking dickbag anyway. I can say that. I'm not debating him. Anyway, whoever's asking about my shirt, yes, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. There's a teaser up here. It says, "This is an opinion," and then can you see? And then there's an onion here. And then it says, "The pie is silent." This is my dad shirt. I'm a dad now, so this is a dad shirt.
Okay, dad shirt. Okay.
Do you get it, Armin?
Yes,
you get it, right?
onion.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who don't get it still.
Oh, wow, we got a super chat.
Oh, wow, cool. That's good. What do we get? Wait, before we do the super chat, Jin D is from Saudi Arabia, and she wants to know how much time is left, and she wants to talk about, she had a couple of questions. Jin D, we'll get to at least one of them, because that's very important to us. And thanks for joining us all the way from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, Jin D.
Super chat.
Yeah, Jin D from Saudi Arabia. Always great to have you here. Mm-hmm. So how do you pronounce this? Anastan? Can you you mentioned it sometime, a few times.
Nusantara, something like that? Yeah, go ahead.
Nusantara. Yes. Thank you so much for the super chat. It's 2 something. I don't know what that A is. I think it's Australian dollars. Thanks for your time, guys. Thoughts on Baha'i.
Oh, Baha'is. That's a longer conversation. I don't know that much about it. I know it's sort of like a syncretic religion, where it has elements of Zoroastrianism, and it also has elements of Islam, and it has elements of a bunch of other faiths in it.
So there's
go on. So yeah, thoughts on it? It's. I think it's another religion. It's also Persian. There's a lot of people in Iran, so it's hard to know more about it. But do you want to get into it now, or do you want to get to the other questions?
And there's so many conspiracies around them as well. But they're prosecuted in Iran. I think it kind of has like Shia Islam some to it. A lot of people saying it's not Islam, but it came from Islam, so it's kind of as Islam. I don't know, but if they have the Quran, belief in Quran, I mean, so it does come from Islam, even though some people say it's not Islam. But the differences between them and the Shias is that their Mehdi came, the 12 Imam that they were waiting for. It showed up.
Oh, okay.
It showed up. Which why Iran hates it so much is because it's
blasphemous.
Because the closer you get, you know how in Pakistan, you look at who's that? Ahmadis, and they're like very prosecuted against. The Baha'is are kind of like that in Iran.
Are they? Do they call themselves Muslims?
I don't know.
I haven't heard them do that. I think that they think of the Baha'i as a whole separate thing.
Yeah, but
because it's got influences from other faiths as well.
Technically not, but I mean, based on a definition of a Muslim, I think they are kind of Muslim. I've been criticized before by considering.
It's like the Druze. I honestly, I actually don't know that much about them, so I don't want to comment too much.
It's a very new, like, we were taught in school that they're a British conspiracy, obviously. But now we're learning that apparently, no, they're not a British conspiracy, they're a Jewish conspiracy. So they're a Jewish-made religion, but they're not. I mean, it's they're weird. They give a lot of credit for being very modern and very open-minded, but that's what you get always when you're prosecuted. Whenever you're prosecuted, you have to be very accepting to be like, I mean, it's still a bullshit religion. A lot of people still donate a lot of their hard-earned money to it, which is not very good. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't protect them when they are being prosecuted in Iran.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Oh, sorry. It's midnight here on the East Coast, so let's do 10 more minutes. We have a few more. Greg is going on again about how Christianity is amazing and the Lord is coming back to. So I'm going to skip that because Armin, we've talked about that quite a bit about how Christianity is bullshit. Anyway, so I am. So Jin, thank you for writing. I am from Saudi Arabia. And people don't understand how much Muslims here see that religion makes sense more than other ideas, and atheism sounds very stupid and illogical to them. I think that that's true. Yeah, that's people don't see it. That's one of the things of indoctrination. When I lived there, I can't tell you how. One of the reasons that I do have a lot of sympathy for Muslims is because I lived there and I know how hard it is to break out of that bubble, and I wrote about that quite a bit as well too. Just seeing how they were. I wrote about an incident when we had a Ministry of Education guy come into our classroom, and I was in a private American school, and he said, he cut off one of the tips off of snowflakes that we'd make and scared the shit out of me in terms of, the Star of David and Jews. And when I met my first Jew when I came to Canada, I still felt a little bit of that effect. So if I just had that with that limited exposure, imagine these kids who are indoctrinated with that culture, that educational system, those textbooks, when they come out, the way that they think. So it's a really hard thing, and it's really horrible for these people to go through it. But Jen, I think you have something else coming up, so we'll get to it.
2 more super chats.
All right, let's do the super chats.
Okay, Dan from $5 is saying, D'Souza literally said that Islamic terrorists have a point about gays. Would be great to see him on. Wow, he said that? That's fucking crazy.
He's a convicted fucking felon, man. And he was pardoned by Trump.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping that Matt and they talk about Trump. That would be interesting debate as well.
I'm pretty sure that they will.
Yeah.
I don't
Thank
think
you
it's
so much, Dan. That's very sweet. Thank you. And Nusanta also sent us another $10. Wow. Super chat. Thank you so much. You guys are being so generous. On behalf of on behalf of the others here, Terima Kasi, is that Urdu? Can you What is that?
I can't even see. I'm lost in comments. I'm trying to keep my space, but it's okay. Go on.
Terima kasih. I think this is for you. Kasih dan selamat datang di Indo. No, come on. This is for you.
I'll when I get to it, I'll see. I'm not seeing the chat. Hold on.
Oh, there's a Persian part in it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a Persian part of it too. Merci Dusayman, that's Persian.
Oh no, this is Indonesian, dude. Oh. This is definitely not Urdu.
Okay, but there's a Persian part to it. There's an Indonesian part to it. This is like multi-language super chat. As mikonam uja.
Anyway,
yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for the Samar. You're amazing. You. Yeah. I appreciate it. So let's keep going. Okay.
Oh, somebody translated it for us. The Buddhi man translated. That's Indonesian, meaning thanks and come to Indonesia if possible. I don't know if is it safe. I don't think it's safe.
Hey, everyone in Indonesia, on my book is actually available in Indonesian. There's an unofficial translation, so do try to get your hands on it if you can.
A lot of people tell us that it's safe for atheists in this country and that country. I know it's safe for atheists, but is it safe for Islamic atheist activists? I think that's a different level of safe. I think, for example, Dubai, I know it's safe for atheists, right? But is it safe for people that have been shitting on Islam half of their life? That's a different kind of safety that we require before we travel somewhere. Wow, we got another super chat from Mars Chung. Thank you. Wow, what a day. You guys have been getting death threats from a lot of crazy fools. Thanks for what you do for those who really need help and for speaking on our behalf. Thank you, Mars.
Mars, thank you so much. That's amazing. Oh, wow. And Mars, I got to say, I love the questions you ask. And you just email us, message us, because we want to actually get you on the next Patreon.
And Mike as well. We need he's been waiting to do a private discussions with us as well. We should have Mike on. We should have Mars on as well. Yeah.
So anyway, Greg is going on about how we're disillusioned by Islam, but because Christianity is the only hope in the world. This guy doesn't give up. Yeah. One thing I got to give the Christians, you guys are fucking persistent. I love it.
Yeah, so are Muslims.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They are. Well, I mean, Muslims, like they lose patience after a while. They're just like, Allahu Akbar. But anyway. Yeah. So Jin from Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately, Saudi is only getting more oppressive than ever, and jails are full of innocent people locked up there with no charges. I genuinely started to feel unsafe because of my position. Jin, just be careful. I'm glad that you're on here. I'm glad that you're talking.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I see that you're anonymous as well, and that's great. Spread your ideas, even if you have to do it behind a thing, but stay very, very safe.
Yes.
And be as safe as you possibly can. We did do an interview with a guy who was he was a gay guy living in Saudi Arabia, and we could never air it because Saudi Arabia just blocks everything. We kept on dropping, the call kept on dropping after every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we are going to get him back on again, but it was really, really tough. So you guys have anybody out there who's actually breaking out and trying to get their ideas out here, kudos to you. You're absolutely amazing. Okay. Yay for James, yay for ideological diversity. Humans are dynamic, can hold a range of opinions simultaneously, and we can be friends despite disagreements. Ali is right. Thank you, James. You are. I'm going to tell my wife that. She'll laugh at it. And then
did we check the Facebook chat? Oh, thanks. Yeah, you're checking that. Oh, Alishba is on the Facebook chat. Hi, Alishba.
Alishba's on the Facebook chat? Oh, what's she saying?
No, she just put a heart symbol.
Oh, of course she did. She loves us. So,
Sophia is on the Facebook chat. Hi, Sophia.
Wait, Dan O. We got a super chat from Dan O.
Oh, Sophia, we promised Sophia as well to Sophia's a patron. She's supposed to.
Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, so Dan O. Super chat, LOL. D'Souza literally said that Islamic terrorists have a point. Oh, okay. You already read that.
Yeah.
This is delayed. Okay, guys, we're running out of time. If we didn't get to some of your questions, we're going to take a few more. If we don't get to yours, we're really, really sorry. Join us next time. We do one of these at least every month, sometimes two. Yeah. So
This month's going to be 2. This next one is going to be. This one was a surprise one, but we have scheduled one as well, which you can see on our Secular Jihadists Facebook page. If under the event section, you can see the scheduled ones. If you want to make sure that you don't miss them. But this one was. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to get somebody that we haven't heard from. Oh, Theomaki is Armin. If you live to see someone with an Allah is gay sign in Mecca, what would be your reaction?
I would go to Mecca. I would go to Mecca. I would have an Allah is. I would join that person. I would start a campaign to change the black drapes on the Kaaba to the rainbow color one, the one that we photoshopped. So it shouldn't. Yeah. So. I really do want to go to Kaaba.
That would be that would be a cool day. I wonder if it'll happen in my lifetime.
It won't. Yeah, the day that ex-Muslims could go have an ex-Muslim booth inside Kaaba will be the day that the world has gone so much better, right? Like, do you think that would happen one day?
You know what?
I think so. It would.
My only thing, the one thing that totally changed everything for me was when I. Just seeing how same-sex marriage has become legal in the US and in Canada and all this stuff. I mean, this is something I grew up in the 80s, and it was one of those things like, no, not in my lifetime. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. And that is, I think, the one thing that has completely transformed the way that I think about timelines and how fast change can happen. So I'm not saying...
Well, here's a more extreme example. We went from Germany being a country that gasses Jews because they're not the Aryan race and stuff like that, to a country that says that the borders have to be open to everybody because if we don't do that, it's racist. It's racist. Like there are people that are alive that saw both of those, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there are people who were alive when Brown versus the Board of Education Civil Rights Act was passed in the 60s, and I can't express this to people. I mean, a lot of people are too young, but before Obama was elected, just the idea that there could be a black president. Even the change happens much faster than we think.
Right.
So that's why I don't rule it out. But you're right. Like all of those examples are fantastic examples of the kind of change that can happen. I mean, to me, it's still, I know I mention this all the time. I'm going to mention it again when Sam Harris is on.
Can I give you one more example? One more example. Iran, within one generation of people, went from the only country that banned hijab to the only country that has mandatory hijab within one generation, right? For everybody, mandatory hijab for everybody, not just citizens.
And even with this, and this is what I was going to say, and I'm going to plug it again. Sam Harris will be on the podcast on September 26th. So, guys, keep that in mind and join in.
Yes.
But and I'm going to say it then too. It's just this idea that I think we're having this podcast right now. We're saying all this stuff about Christianity and Islam, about Islam specifically, and we're getting all these death threats. You're running around with an Allah is gay sign in Vancouver, in the streets of Vancouver, and it hasn't even been 30 years since Salman Rushdie's books were burnt in public and he was sent into hiding for 10 years. I mean, that to me is, us doing all of this stuff now at that time would have been unimaginable. Like what you're saying about the cartoons and them getting normalized, right? So,
Lotus Edwards is saying, I asked for a private chat too. Message us on either on Patreon about that or on the Facebook group that is for Patreons only. Mm-hmm. And we'll schedule something for our patrons. Thank you, Lotus. All right, go.
Yeah, Brown versus so Jim, you're right. Brown versus Board of Education was 1954. I was talking really fast, so I was talking about that as a separate thing, and the Civil Rights Act in the 60s is a separate thing. So in case that wasn't clear, thanks for clearing that up. Anyway, guys, I think that we're gonna have to call it a night. It's like it's again 15 minutes past midnight here on the East Coast, and I definitely have to go. Do you want to do one last question, Armin?
One last question.
Find the last question, and then let's check Facebook and see if there's anything.
No, there's not much on Facebook. Let's see.
Okay,
I'm gonna pick somebody that we have. Let's pick.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions, guys. Thank you for your questions. We're gonna do this again.
Wait.
I picked all of them.
I think. Mike is. I'm going to do one with Mike. Only Muslims can access Makkah. Is it hard to pretend good enough to get? No, actually,
So can you repeat the question again?
So Mike is saying can only Muslims can access Makkah, right? Actually, it's true. Like even when you're getting close to Makkah, you can see on the streets the highway signs. It says like if you're not a Muslim, you have to take this route because this is getting too close to Mecca. Because when Muhammad,
it actually says only Muslims are allowed beyond this point, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, only Muslims can go to Mecca. So I think that's why like the capital of Saudi Arabia is not Mecca, because you can't do politics if non-Muslims are not allowed in your capital. That's why Riyadh is the capital. Some Saudis think that some people actually think Muhammad meant all of Saudi Arabia, but that would be very inconvenient if that was the case. So I think they made it just Mecca.
Well, that was the premise for the formation of Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda actually formed when in 1996.
When
for the first 2 years.
Yeah,
1996 to 1998. It was basically a rebellion against American forces who were in the peninsula, in the Arabian Peninsula, because of the whole Saddam thing and the first Gulf War.
Well, Al-Qaeda was initially a force in Afghanistan against the Soviet Union, but then they turned against Saudi Arabia itself when Saudi Arabia allowed American.
Oh no, that was Bin Laden, and it was against, but it wasn't called Al Qaeda.
It wasn't called Al Qaeda.
No. But the point that Osama bin Laden, Ayman al-Zawahiri formed Al Qaeda, it was in response to American forces, infidel forces in the Holy Land, which is in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, so the first 2 years, 1996, 1998, they didn't talk about Palestine. They didn't talk about any of that stuff. They just wanted the infidels out. But after 1998 is when they actually started getting strategic, and they started bringing up all these world issues.
Imagine how pissed you are if
relate to.
Imagine how pissed you are if you are Bin Laden. Like you left Saudi Arabia, went to Afghanistan because you are so against non-Muslims being in Muslim land, right? Which was basically at that point the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. And while you're away fighting atheists in Muslim land, your home country welcomes Americans, not just Americans, American troops inside your own country. And you're like, what the fuck just happened, right? And that's why they hated the Bin Laden hates the Saudi government so much, right? They left Saudi Arabia to fight this whole concept. So what was the question anyways? Is it hard to pretend to get access? No, it's not. In fact, a lot of ex-Muslims go to Kaaba, and we have secret groups online that they talk about their experience. One of them mentioned actually she was forced to kiss that black stone, and she really didn't want to kiss it because it's so.
We never kissed that.
It was a he. I think it was a he.
The Hajj al-Aswad is a stone that's in the corner of the. So you guys, when you look at the picture of the Kaaba,
it's so gross because so many people kiss it, and people say if you kiss it, you are gonna get sick. Like you can see the mucus of people on top, and you can just feel that you're gonna get sick within minutes after kissing it, right?
Yeah. So this was it's believed to be some sort of now it's thought to be some sort of meteorite. Hajar al-Aswad means black stone, and it's in the Kaaba. If you see in the corner, there's this thing that looks kind of like a urinal actually, and there's a black stone in there. So that and even when we used to go there every year when we were kids, and. My parents told me, he's like, don't even touch that thing because you're going to get sick.
Yeah. By the way, we have first-hand experience here. Jean D is actually answering us. She's saying Jean D is in Saudi Arabia, and she's saying, I went to Mecca last month, and last time I've checked, I was not a Muslim. So yeah, you can pretend to be a Muslim.
We have an example.
Yeah.
I love it. Isn't this amazing? Yeah. Like just doing this is one of the best things about this podcast. You hear from You're talking about going to Mecca and whether Muslims can go there, and then you hear somebody saying, I went to Mecca last month and I am not a Muslim and I live here. So that's pretty cool. Yes. So Jin, stay safe. Just be very, very careful.
I can't wait. I can't wait until time passes so much that, Kaaba becomes like a museum, and you have there's a theme park where you could go to heaven on a ride. You know what I mean? Like It's kind of like the thing that Muhammad went on, like a horse. What was that thing called? The horse with
Barak.
The Barak. Yeah, the Barak ride, right? And you get on it and you go to Jerusalem, and then you go and meet God, and you go and see like Gabriel and the prophets, like right like that, like. And when you get closer to God, like there's a light. I don't know.
It's like Ken Ham's park, right, where there's like Jesus riding dinosaurs and shit.
Right. Yeah.
You know about that?
Yeah, I know, but it would be awesome. Like if we like, there's a.
I would totally go.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, the roller coaster that starts in the cave of Hera.
No, you go to the cave, and then there's like Gabriel comes down to you, and you can see the wings. And then you pretend that you're Muhammad, and there's something that comes like makes you feel like you're being.
And you have the horror house with the three Satans.
You can't get out unless you say there's a voice "Iqra bi'ismika lazi khalaq," and you have to read it to be able to move to the next level. You should, this is gonna be cool. Yeah,
you can like put that hammer when you hit the hammer on the thing, and then it chops off a foreskin, something like that.
Oh wait, what? That's
those hammers that you hit on the thing and then this thing goes up.
Yeah,
I'm talking.
That would be the Old Testament thing. Yeah. That's the Old. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
but then you get a sword and you have to chop with. Oh no, yeah, they should do that with the moon, right? So you hit it and your hammer looks like a sword, and when it hits the thing, the moon cracks open.
And that's also another thing that happened.
Yeah. So you could do that. Yeah, you hit the hammer, you make the hammer look like a sword, and when the thing hits the bell, there's a moon on top, and the moon cracks in half.
Armin, we just found an idea for your next video.
Hey,
Mecca Amusement Park. It would be amazing.
You should trademark this, by the way. Actually, Dubai is doing a theme park.
I don't think that they're doing a thing in the Kaaba where.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a Barak ride.
Right.
To a fake heaven.
Yeah.
I think they're still far away from that. Oh, but speaking of which, Canada is actually putting up at Wonderland the biggest, the tallest, the tallest and the longest roller coaster.
Right.
It's going to come out. I forgot what it's called, but it was pretty cool because I like roller coasters a lot. So anyway, that's one thing.
There needs to be a sleeping area where it's like you pretend to be one of those people in the cave that slept for 3 years. Like their hotels has to be that cave. So it's so comfy that you're going to sleep for like, was it 3 years or 30 years? No, it was like a whole 300 years. Was it 300?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it could be.
Yeah. No, do you remember that story in the Quran where people slept for 300 years? That should be the hotel of the theme park. All right, never mind. Okay. Okay. All right.
There's going to be a house of Lot where he's offering his daughters to everybody.
Oh, yeah. That should be this. No, it's strip club. No, I don't know. It should be child friendly.
I know. Okay, guys. It's clearly late. Right. We love you. We're going to see you soon. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for all of your questions. I'm so sorry that we didn't get to all of them. I always feel bad about that. We try to get to as many as we can, still have a productive conversation. If you're new here to Secular Jihadists, check out our old episodes. As I mentioned, we've had some amazing guests in the past, and we had some amazing conversations with former Muslims and secularists and atheists and agnostics around the world, and as well as a lot of great authors and thinkers. And yes, in the future, we've got an episode coming up with Abdullah Gondal. We have an episode coming up with Abdullah Gondal is a Quranic critic. We have an episode coming up with Yasmina Ali, who is an adult film star, and she was born in Taliban-ruled Afghanistan, and then she left Islam, and then she pursued this career, and she has a really, really fascinating story. We still have to schedule that, and we have an episode coming up with Sam Harris, and that's on September 26th, so just note the dates. And Armin, any parting words?
We have an ex-Muslim that is currently an adult film star.
We do, yeah.
So we should encourage people. We should if we link to her channel, would that get our YouTube flagged or something? We should promote her website or something, and ask people not to.
Yeah, no, we'll do that. So we still have to get. I'm still scheduling with her, so we're just setting up a date.
Right.
So we have a time to do the podcast. And as soon as that's
should encourage all ex-Muslims to just if to consume like ex-Muslim produced porn to support other ex-Muslims.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
But it's been amazing. Like I shared the article that she wrote herself,
right,
about her story. And this is a girl who was born in Afghan-ruled Taliban, and she was just in the center of modesty culture and rape culture, and literally in the most extreme sense possible. And she broke out. She's actually brilliant. I've seen her in a lot of them. She's an extremely intelligent woman. And she's got a really, really thick skin too. When I tweeted
what's her name? Beach is asking, what's her name again? What's her channel?
Yasmina Ali. She is also, and it was amazing that the kind of responses we got when I tweeted it. There were so many, obviously mostly men and some women too, not just Muslims. Right. But also Christians, non-Christians, secular people just slamming her for her decision,
right,
to do what she did, and instead of just assuming that they know her whole story and what led her there. And and she takes it with a lot of grace, and she takes it with class, and she's really. So she's actually really. I'm really looking forward to having that conversation.
I don't think we need to say like she's actually very intelligent, because a lot of people assume that if you're a porn star you can't be intelligent. Like that's.
No. I'm saying as a human being. Actually, as a human being, she's exceptionally articulate. Like in the other podcasts I've seen her do, she's actually accepting. I would say that even if she was a pharmacist.
Right.
So
good.
But yeah, people do assume that adults, like porn stars and everything are really stupid, but for the most part, they're not.
Yeah.
So
let's break that stereotype.
Including the men. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I shall see you next time. We're going to see you next week, I guess. Right?
Yes.
So
she's on. Jim King is saying she's on Twitter. Yasmin Ali Model. And Yasmin AXXX. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you, Sohan. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Islam Zionism. Your name is too long. I don't know how to give you a shout out. Thank you, Mars. Thank you, Gene D, James, Mike. I think I already shouted out to Mike. Who else?
Skytail, Sean, Beach.
The Booty Man.
Yeah, Smart. Yeah, there's everybody. So
Nusantara for your super chats. When there was another super chat that the message was retracted.
Theo Maki.
Yeah, Theo. Theo Maki. Even that guy that was trying to sell us Christianity. I want to give a shout out to him as well. Logic Beats Speculation, Casey Atheist, Truth Begets Heresy. Where is that guy? Greg Norris.
Greg Norris, thank you for the entertainment.
Well, yeah, and for your contribution. It's okay. It's good to get other opinions as well. We don't want to just have a circle jerk. Sohan, you're always amazing. Thank you. Beej, you're always amazing. Mac, James. Anyways, thank you all, and check us out on secularjihadists.com. I'm going to fix that up soon, and also check us on Patreon. Support us if you can. If you can't, just share our content. If it's safe, if it's not safe, please don't share our content. But yeah, thank you guys, and love you all.
Bye-bye.
The secular jihadists have been made possible thanks to the Illuminati and the covert support of Israel and the CIA. That's what we have been told, but we haven't received our checks yet. If you like what we do, please support us. Share the podcast with your friends. Write and tweet us with topic and guest suggestions. Or head over to secularjihadists.com and give $1 or more for exclusive access to live video. Have your questions read and answered on the air, and more. Till next time, may the flying spaghetti monster be with you.